Good afternoon, good evening. Regardless of where you are, it's always a great time to study the gospel inspired by Spiritism. Today, we're going to review chapter 77 of the book Our Daily Bread, which is titled To Respond. It is based in Colossians chapter 4, verse 6. Before we begin, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank Kardec Radio for opening up its platform for conversations just like this one. Kardec Radio is available in several social media platforms, including the X platform. In the X platform, you can not only post your comments and questions, but actually the staff from Kardec Radio will respond to you accordingly. Before we start our conversation, let's pray. Thank you, Lord, for the amazing opportunity for us to get together and to study, to learn new things. It's always important for us to open our minds to new knowledge, as it is important for us to open our hearts to try to feel each other, try to understand one another. Bless our homes and the homes of our friends, family members, and even the homes of those who consider themselves our enemies. May your peace be with us always. Thank you. So we're going to be discussing again chapter 77 of Our Daily Bread, which is called To Respond. And it is based again in Colossians chapter 4, verses 6. And it reads like this, the passage. Let your conversation be always full of grace, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer everyone. I like this passage here because it provides three fundamentals. First of all, when we communicate with one another, we should communicate full of grace, meaning that there should be kindness, there should be politeness. We should be considerate to others. Seasoned with salt has two possible meanings. One of them is for you to have that emotional intelligence, for you to have that empathy to understand the other, and know how to to use salt, meaning how to spice, how to condition your words so that it is best suited for whoever you're speaking with. Another thing also is that salt here can also mean, back then salt was using as to preserve food. So it's possible here that also that a word that is seasoned with salt means it is one that maintains, one that constructs, one that strengthens our listener. And I like here the way it ends, indicating that so you know how to answer everyone. So you know how to communicate with all of those around you. We live in society. Communication is very important, not only for us to, again, be in touch with another, not only for us to exchange ideas, but also for all of us to grow, helping one another. Emmanuel explains here that to respond advantageously to heterogeneous intelligence requires superior abilities that the individuals should make an effort to achieve. So here we see again the importance for us to use our emotional intelligence, for us to use our empathy as we talk to everybody. And Emmanuel indicates here that it requires superior qualities. So it is something that we acquire. It is a knowledge that we develop in time as well. So you should make an effort. So you should refine the way you communicate with others. Emmanuel here indicates that not all the arguments can be directed instinctively to the collectivity of comrades that strive among themselves in the evolving and redeeming tasks. So we should, the way I communicate with one individual might not work with another individual. And everybody is striving, not only others, but our brothers and sisters, also to evolve and to go through redeeming tasks as well. This is a world of trials and atonements, after all. So where all of us are working on our redeeming tasks. Emmanuel continues indicating that it is necessary to refute each one with certainty. The one that works in the country, to the one that works in the country, we should not respond with references to the spectacular activities of the city. To the person that discusses the roughness of his own individual path, we should not reply with highly scientific remarks. So again, we should direct our words, we should direct how we communicate to each one of to each other, trying to understand how to best reach the individual, how to best communicate, how to best link with one another. So we see here that, again, two examples here. If somebody works, if somebody lives in the countryside, it is, why should we be talking about the city unless it is for me to educate? And conversely, if somebody lives in a rural area, so the conversation, he or she should be talking to someone who lives in the city. Only if it is to edify, only if it is to instruct. We can always learn from one another. But again, it's important for us to add the kindness, like in the words of Paul here, the salt, the way to make our words constructive. And I like here the other example that Emmanuel provides, that to the person that discusses roughness of his or her individual path, we should not reply with highly scientific remarks. So if somebody is suffering and somebody's going through a tough period in his or her existence, I mean, we should not be referring to topics that we should have conversations that are off topic as well. Again, we need to be cognizant of the environment and the circumstances that surround our brothers and sisters as we try to communicate with them. Emmanuel continues here that, first of all, it is imperative not to be disagreeable to the listener, tempering the verbal attitude with legitimate comprehension of the problems of life. It will be considered as our duty to make a contribution so that those who have deviated from simplicity and usefulness can be readjusted. So we should not be disagreeing with our listeners, meaning we should not be imposing our points of view to others. We should temper, we should add to our verbal attitude, the way we communicate, the comprehension of the problem that each individual is going through. It is our duty as Christians. We should make a contribution. We should help one another, especially those of us who have fallen into simplicity and usefulness. So, meaning those that are not really who need to learn something new. All of us can always learn something from one another, and all of us can always teach something. But again, we have to temper the verbal attitude with this comprehension, with this empathy of as we communicate with one another. Every response in an important matter is a remedy. It is indispensable to temper the proper dose aiming at the effects. Each individual will tolerate and benefit from the proper dynamism. The very solution of truth and love in themselves should not be given without observing the same criteria. If applied in inadequate proportions, the truth could destroy as often as love commonly loses. So again, as we're interchanging words with one another, let's see that the way we talk, they act like remedies. They act like ways to soothe one another. So as we talk, we gotta be thinking, how is what I'm about to say going to impact that person? Is it gonna be constructive? Is it gonna be destructive? Am I going to be pushing that individual upwards, or am I gonna be pulling him or her down? So I gotta understand, and that's why there should be a dynamism, like Emmanuel defines here, because again, each individual you're talking to has his or her background, has his or her way to understand. Even though we will never know all the circumstances from this life and also from previous lives that have contributed to the individuals, but the way he or she is right now, at least we should pay attention at the way that our words way that our verb might impact that individual. So again, the same criteria when we say the truth. And if we should be truthful, we should be honest with one another. But again, the truth can destroy. So even if what I'm saying is truthful, then it has to be in a constructive manner, using the kindness that is indicated here. And if when I open my mouth, even if I have the best of intentions, if I'm not careful, then if I'm not kind, what's going to happen is that love is going to lose. Instead of helping someone, I'm going to end up hurting somebody's feelings, which is not the constructive way to behave. Many finalizes here reminding us that even though you are questioned by the greatest evildoer, you should maintain a pleasant and dignified manner in order to be clear and informative. Knowing how to respond is a virtue from the sphere of celestial wisdom. For your own good, do not forget the best method of caring for each individual. So I like this reminder here by Emmanuel, because even if people are mistreating us, even if we're doing with somebody who is trying to hurt us, even those circumstances, then I should still maintain a dignified manner. I should speak with dignity. I should not try to pay back that evil that has been done in whatever manner it might be practiced. I should not respond with evil. I should use again a dignified manner so that I can be clear, so that I can respond in a clear and a precise manner, and also in a way that it does not complicate any situations, but also that is informative, so that I can also clarify that individual, especially if I'm talking to that individual and I'm trying to convey that individual that what he or she is doing is wrong. I should be in a clear, informative manner, using the dignity, because then so that I can maintain my dignity, and I should not try to hurt the dignity of others, even again if those are quote unquote classified as evildoers. And again, knowing how to respond is a virtue from the sphere of celestial wisdom. Again, learning how to communicate, it is something that we learn and we get better at as we evolve. And Emmanuel here finalizing again for our own good, for our own good as spirits. And we should know the best way of caring for each individual. We should know the best way to interface with each other. And again, I totally agree with this particular reminder here that it is of the celestial wisdom. It is something that as we evolve, we're going to learn more and more and more how to better communicate. Jesus is a perfect spirit, and he demonstrated to us the way to communicate clearly, to communicate in a way that is understand. He did use it. Just look at his parables. His parables were all in line with the way that people lived back then. So this parables did resonate with the individuals back then. And even when he was when he was strict and very honest to others, he was never in a way that would be insulting to anyone. So again, a reminder for us that let's evolve, and as we evolve, let's make sure that we make the proper use of our words. That's our conversation for today. I hope you like it. And just as a reminder, if you like this particular program or other programs from Kardec Radio, make sure that you click the little subscribe or follow button, depending on the social media that you're using, so that you will be informed of any upcoming programs just like this one. At this time, let's again say our thanks in a prayer. Let's thank the Lord for the opportunity for us to learn how to convey our message to one another, but especially in a way that transmits knowledge, in a way that elucidates, that illuminates, in a way that builds, so that we know how to make the best impact with others, so that we can lift up those who are down, and so that we can also help those brothers and sisters of us who might be in the wrong path, and especially so that we might be instruments of the Lord in whatever we do, even as we speak. So be it.